So now we invite up Dušan we have a Slovenian representative, Dušan Mikuž, who is Director General of the Family Affairs Directorate at the Ministry of Labour, Family, Social Affairs and Equal Opportunities in Slovenia. You have the longest title of all today here. Welcome.
Yeah, too many areas for one ministry.
Yes.
I think. Okay, thank you, Tiina, for your invitation, and thanks to all panelists to share their experience. It's a great pleasure to listen to all these experiences.
So yeah, Dušan, it was a wonderful bridge also over from Estonia to what they got inspiration from Slovenia about with also the ranking, the family-friendly workplace ranking. We'll mention that short too. But let's start with you, as I do with all, because I think that is the most important place to start, to really talk about the wins, the why, the arguments that you started with different initiatives for supporting working families and gender equality in Slovenia. What was in it for your state, your country and government? And you want to show a slide, I know, and we take that.
Yeah, on the first slide, there is shown employment rate by presence of children. And as you can see, there is Slovenia on the first place in the European Union, where with women with children who are employed. This is because of our long history. Slovenia is one of the countries that started to develop family policy measures relatively early in comparison with many other European countries. There are some key factors for that. Family is the most important Slovenian value in all public opinion service. There is also high political agreement that children should be protected. Typical case here is, for example, foster care. Development of foster care was natural. It grew up out of a community and was later gradually regulated into legislation. It was kind of natural development. Our family policy started after Second World War, where when employed women were entitled to 6 weeks of paid maternity leave. It has prolonged, and in 1957 it was extended to 105 days. And maternity leave is as long still now. In 1970s, we had a period of industrialization in Slovenia and in the former Yugoslavia, of which we were part. And most women who worked had full-time employment, which is one characteristic of our society. As now you can also see on the slide in 2002. Childcare was also very important for this, and in 1974, Parliament unanimously adopted an extension of leave, although called childcare leave, and lasting 141 days, in addition to the existing 105 days of maternity leave. It was in fact the mother's right, but with the possibility for her to transfer it to father.
Dušan, sorry to interrupt you. You want to share slides when you talk about this? Because now we were on the why, the reasons. So I'm not behind you. You want to show?
I just want to say that it is a long history.
Yes,
because
we're still on the why. Yeah, good.
Yeah, we're still on the why, and
good.
There are historic reasons, as I said before, why we have such a high employment rate of women. And the important thing is also that in the same time, in 1980s and in 1990s, there was the development of public organized educational and care services for preschool children. Let me say that in just 10 or 15 years, the percentage of preschool population of children was in, let's say, in 1970, 7.7%, and in 1980s it was 50%. It was a huge, huge change. And even during the most difficult transition years, Slovenia managed to retain and also develop most of its advantages and achievement in preschool childcare attained, while it also rather successfully reformed services according to principle of market economy and improved their quality. If I would shortly wrap up, answer to your question, women employment and economic reasons, equality of women, and need for care for children. These were the main reasons why we developed.
Thank you. What a wonderful historic journey you took us on here too. So while trying all those things, and where did you end up? I'm going to show a slide where what you offer today. So if you take that briefly, just with showing and telling us what you offer today from Slovenia to families.
Yes, as you can see, we have just almost the same system as in Estonia, or in some way also in Sweden. Slovenian case with parental leave and ECEC is a good practice in this respect. 1 month before the child is born, mother-to-be takes maternity leave, 105 days. After that, mother or father takes 260 days of parental leave, which can be extended for different reasons. For example, for twins, triplets, or parents with 2, 3, or more small children, or also for parents who have child in need of special care. Altogether, this means that the child be at home with his immediate family after he is born. On the other side, for mothers, it means that they can stay with the child until he can enroll to ECEC. Also, fathers have 30 days of paternity leave to be with mother and a child. We believe that not only possibility to use a leave, and that is traditional in Slovenia, but also the fact that the compensation for the leave is 100% of the salary of parent. This is from us crucial. It means that using maternity, paternity, or parental leave does not bring family in financial problems. Nevertheless, kindergarten expenses are quite substantial in Slovenia because it is a full day service with educational program and healthy meals. But from September the 1st this year, the kindergarten is free of charge for the second child who is in the kindergarten, and at the same time as the older sibling. Additionally, this right extends to families with 3 or more children.
Dušan, can I just pop in a question? Is it completely free? The families don't pay anything for the childcare?
It is completely free for the families which have a second child who is in kindergarten at the same time as the older sibling. And also, additionally, for the families with 3 or more children. There is the parents should also financially participate only if they have 1 children enrolled. But also in this case, they participate the maximum of I think 70%. and it depends of their income status. After this leaves, Slovenian parents can also choose to use a measure called reduced working time. One of the parents of child younger than 3 years can work part-time. If there are more than one child in the family, one of the parent can also work part-time until youngest child finishes first grade of primary school. The state pays social contributions for the difference to full-time work. These social contributions are calculated from the average age of last year.
So let's go to your next slide with early childhood education and care. Family-friendly enterprise certified. Just a couple of words of this, and then I'll ask you about challenges.
Yeah, as I said before, early childhood education and care is very important from the side of parents. It can be taken from 11 months till the children are enrolled to primary school. Mostly of the kindergartens are public, 90%, and it is a very high quality program. There is food included, breakfast, warm lunch, 2 snacks, and what is the most important, that there is also personnel who is very high qualified, and children really have a good and very high quality education and care.
And then we have this family-friendly enterprise certificate. It's interesting to hear that Estonia was inspired from you in Slovenia, and we know that this is something that many countries have, but this is exactly what we want to see also, that countries inspire each other and try out. Could you just mention that short, what it is?
The family-friendly enterprise certificate represents a kind of consulting audit process, and has been developed as one of the tools for effective and more quality human resources management within enterprises and organizations in the context of balancing professional and private lives of employees. To obtain the basic certificate, an organization with the help of consultant has to prepare a detailed roadmap for implementation of measures according to their needs, and define criteria for assessing the implementation of individual measures. Since 2007, more than 280 enterprises and organizations implemented more than 3,000 work-life balance measures. This means that there are also good examples for other companies, and it is kind of very good promotion for such measures, and for parents, and to take this measure and to reconcile work and family life.
Yes. And thank you, Dušan, because that is exactly what this Expanding Choices project is about too, to develop role model companies doing measures and showing the wins for others and exchanging experience between countries.
This, as I mentioned before, in this slide we can see how the measure of in 2008, which included free child care for second child, was it was shown here that next year's the birth rate, or the numbers of births has risen to 22,000 and more, and then it was slightly going down. And we hope that after this year, when the child care for second children and for the third and other children will be free of charge, that this will also mean that this curve will go up after that. And then another slide, there is shown paternity leave, how it was chosen by parents, and how it was chosen by dads. Here we can see that when paternity leave was not paid till 2015 and 2017, there was just a little share of fathers who choose to take it. After that, it was fully paid, and we can see that more than 15 days, which are also paid, more and more fathers choose to take this part. Together, fathers have 30 days, 15 days they can take it when the child is born, and other 15 days they can take it after till the first grade of primary school of child.
Yeah. So role modeling is all, but also to focus on the reasons, and then to finalize with you here, just a short recommendation for other governments then in the region and the rest of the world, actually. What would you not want to do again? What challenges did you meet, and something that did not work so well that others should not try?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, first I should say that this is a very important question in policymaking. Let me share some strategic lessons learned. Firstly, I would like to emphasize that for successful family policy, you need good planning, and family policy has to be comprehensive. What do we need on which areas and why are key questions. Secondly, measures have to be developed gradually, and it has to be based on public acceptance. Our experience shows that if you introduce a new measure, you have to be sure that they correspond to values in the society. Otherwise, measures are seen as enforced, and this could undermine any efforts to develop policy area. Let me shortly present you our example on paternity leave. In 2013, we had to transpose the directive on parental leave, and we came up with the solution that was widely rejected. Introduction of non-paid parental leave was seen as measure that will take something from mothers. So there was huge opposition at first. Also, it was not paid. So the take-up was rather low, which brings me to my third point, lesson learned in Slovenia. If something doesn't work, just seek for a solution that works and that will be accepted at that time. And finally, stability and predictability are keys for family policy. Decisions to start a family for another pregnancy, for example, to leave and return to the labor market due to family matters are much easier if people know what they can expect. So if there is a crisis, states try to just have to keep family benefits and services for families on the same level. We in Slovenia, for example, introduced the measures that parents who have 2 children enrolled at the same time in the preschool, as I mentioned before, that these children are exempt from paying for younger child. Also in 2008, we believe that this measure is extremely important for our parents. This monthly expense takes a great share of families' monthly budget. And we have information that some couples decided to have another child sooner at that time. And this is very important to speed up a decision for another child. Unfortunately, at the time of financial crisis, we had to adopt austerity measures also for families. So from 2012 until September 2021, parents did not have these options. We, as I said before, reintroduced this measure in September 2021, and I strongly believe that now it will stay permanently, and that on the long term it will bring positive effects. Because predictability is another key feature for our families, for our family measures. Parents have to know that what they have, and the certainty, what they have to expect, and when they to decide to start a family or to have another child.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Dušan. And predictability and certainty, I mean, not the least in times like this, during the pandemic and everything, when so much is unsure. The topic of combining work with family is also, I mean, it has never been so high on the agendas in so many countries and companies and families as right now, also during and after the pandemic. So thank you so much for sharing. And again, to you too, wonderful to talk to you. We could make a whole webinar session only about Slovenia. I think we need to do that with all examples and maybe some companies too in the future. Thank you for sharing, Dušan. Thank you so much. And again, if you have questions to Dušan, write in the chat, write his name and the question, and we'll send them to him. And you, Dušan, are going to respond in written, and we get a wonderful Q&A from these 3 country experiences. Thank you, Dušan.
Thank you.